furniture? We don't need no furniture. Nothing at a wall. I'm going to work around the floor so I don't run into any furniture. I want people to be themselves. So this is going to be more of an audience participation at times. But I'd like to get a feel around the room of what different jobs or thoughts you had when you were a kid, or maybe influenced by parents, what you thought you were going to be or what you were pushed gently into. So if I could, and if anybody wants to volunteer, they could just go ahead and shout out, or I'll go around the room. Tracy.
A nurse.
A nurse. Okay.
Engineer.
Engineer. Okay.
What was the question?
What did you want to be when you were growing up, or what were you pushed into? Like by parents or teachers, coaches?
I wasn't pushed.
Okay.
But
You were tripped? Okay.
Yes, I was.
No problem. They stuck out their foot and just shoved you over it and said, go for it, kid. You passed the finish line. A+ for you, gold sticker. Okay. Al?
I wanted to fly.
And you did fly.
Ended up that way. Yeah.
Was that by your own intuition?
When I was 4 years old, I wanted to fly. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a farmer, but then I changed my mind halfway down to the farrows that I was plowing. I said, nope, I want to fly.
That'll do it, I guess. That'll do it. Anyone else? Anybody else? Y'all gonna hold your peace if you want? Yeah.
Accountant.
Accountant, you're finally there. Boom, boom. Congratulations. Sir?
Police officer.
Police officer. Are you a police officer?
No, I'm an IT official.
There you go. There you go. Heavy.
I had a choice between two, either a nurse or a teacher.
Okay. And you are
An IT professional.
perfect. I'm going to try to remember what I was going to do, or what I was kind of led into, was to be in the trades. Carpenter, welder, electrician, something along that lines. Didn't really feel like that was my calling, and ended up in white collar work for the most part. So doing sales and that type of thing. Never thought I'd end up in sales, but here we go. So the reason I ask this is really what the entire program is about tonight. It's like, what were you asked when you were a kid, or what were you told by either mentors, teachers, or parents that pushed you into a particular career? Now, a lot of times we get parental guidance that says, hey, well, you know, you need to be, looking at our age category, you need to be a doctor. You need to be, you know, a lawyer. You know, those type of things. And the reason I say that is because we're all old enough to know that, you know, Windows 95 came out back when we were all like teenagers and didn't really care. Maybe. Maybe some of us did, maybe some of us didn't. But anyways, the computer world wasn't really there. Maybe more people would have been pushed into it, you know, based on my age category. But getting back to a parental or a mentor or a coach pushing you into something that maybe you didn't really want to do. And then what ended up happening is you went down this track in life. Let's say it was to be a police officer. Let's say it wasn't your goal. Let's say it was your dad's goal. Let's say it was your mom's goal. Let's say it was a coach's goal. Let's say instead of being not a flight attendant now, you'd have to work on that a little bit, okay? But to be a pilot, somebody else told you along the way, hey, you know what, that's a little bit pie in the sky, no pun intended, you fly in planes, I don't really see that. Coming from a young Minnesota kid, or Michigan? Minnesota as well? 2 Minnesotas. That may be pie in the sky. And so, what a teacher, parental, somebody else might have leaned you toward was something else. And this may not have happened in your lives. But what I do think is that it happened within a lot of people's lives is that they were pushed into a particular category, a particular group, a particular profession, if you will. And then years later, what happens is they go into that profession. And then they hold resentment. They hold resentment to their family, their friends, their parent, their coach. Oh, that coach in 7th grade told me to do this. Here I am 25 years later. I never really wanted to do that. Oh, boo-hoo. You got a lot of problems. In other words, problems that are really more heart associated. What I mean by that is that they hurt you. For some reason, you gave up on whatever dream it was. For some reason, you said, you know, that parent, that coach, they're older than me. I respect them. They've been great to me. I'm going to go ahead and follow down that path. And then it wasn't until 10, 20 years later that you've been working in that particular path, and that may not be for any individual here, okay? But that you're working within that particular path, and that resentment starts to build, and you start to become uncomfortable. You start to become uncomfortable to a point where you're finding yourself in a midlife crisis, and you're saying, oh my gosh, I didn't want to do any of this. You know, what I really wanted to do was be an artist. But here I am doing sales. Here I am, you know, I wanted to be a police officer, but, you know, I'm doing IT. And IT probably pays better, so, you know. And less dangerous, less fiber optics, I don't know. I don't know too much about computers. That was my joke at computer humor, and it'll never happen again. Okay? I'm done. All right? Carry me off the stage. Now what I want is I want people to be themselves. And this may not be for this generation. I have a 15-year-old daughter, but what I constantly tell her is I'm like, look, don't look for the job that's going to make you comfortable. Don't look for that thing out there that says, oh, you know what? That's just going to get me right where I need to be. It's not going to push me over the line of poverty. It's not going to push me over the line of wealth. But it's going to just keep me on the straight and narrow. It's going to keep me on that straight and narrow for maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and I'll be okay. And what I worry about is I worry about her later on in life being depressed, being down, being sad about the choices that she made to just go down the line of just straight old, easy road and not take a risk one way or another. And so I want you, or I want my child, or I want the millenniums, or I want millenniums, I don't know. Either way, I think they'll take it. There's enough slang going on right now. They're good. They're good. So we'll call them the M crowd. Make it easy for me, because I don't want to pay that anymore. Anyways. Now for some of them, they may be steered down a road of just skirt it. Don't go one way or the other. And I'm here to say that I think that's completely incorrect. I think that you need to go after your passions. I think that you need to chase them in a way that makes you feel something. Right now, currently in sales, I'm 40-something years old. I don't even want to count anymore. That's how many years I am. I'm 40-something. And I'm completely depressed about my work. To tell you a little something personal about myself. Heck, I just got fired while driving over here. That was my late meeting, Tracy. It was a good meeting. Got fired, came over here. But it doesn't matter, because it's not a sad story. Trust me. I didn't want to be there. Okay? But it was sales. And I've been working in sales for 20 years. I got out of the military. I've been in sales the entire time. It was straight and narrow. It was what my parents told me to do. It's like, hey, you can talk. Go ahead. You go into sales. All right, so I went into sales. There's a lot of other things that I wanted to do, but I'm finding myself super depressed about it. Over the last year, maybe the last couple of years, I really haven't been able to work very well. I haven't been very productive, and I was really trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh, it's what I'm doing at work. Oh, well, let me organize this file. Let me call these people. I've never tried this before. Let me try this. And so what I started doing is stacking all these things. I was like, okay, let me do this, this, and this, and I'll do this, this, this. Scratch that. That didn't work. It's like I had a huge whiteboard up, right? And I'd write one idea down. I'd try it for about 30 days and be like, whoop, That didn't work. Another one, boom, 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 boom. And what I couldn't figure out is why I wasn't becoming more successful. I'd been in business for over 20 years, and I'd really just seemed like not only had I flatlined, I was just going slowly downhill. It was like running up that slippery slope. And you're like, golly, somebody throw me a rope. What's going on here? There was nobody there to throw me a rope. Okay? I'll call one of y'all next time. Okay? Call you up, you have your cell phone ready, bring it, throw a rope to me, get me up the slippery slope. Maybe I should have taken off the loafers. I don't know. But as I've been going through this, I realized that it's not all these different things that I can do to get better, to want to strive to do better at selling things. It's because I didn't enjoy the work. I didn't communicate with people the way that I wanted to communicate with them. I want to be more authentic. I want to talk to people the way I want to talk to people. I don't want it to be askewed and have a conversation with somebody that says, oh, hi, how are you doing today? Which is basically BSing them. How are you, if it's a customer, okay, not y'all, customers. How are you doing today? You're building a little bit of rapport. You're wanting to talk to them a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about you. And all you're really doing is you're pulling out things to use against them. Because that's what sales is. You want to rearrange those words and you want to dance them right back to them so that they buy your product. And that's all fake. I want to be authentic. I want people to know me for who I am. I don't want people to say 20 years, 30 years, whenever it is that I pass away, they're standing in my grave and they say, oh, you know, that guy was a great guy. You know, he really sold his product, he did this thing, he was a great communicator, a couple other things about me, but nobody really knew what really drove my passions. And one of the biggest things about it is in finding this depression of work, is that I don't even know what I'm passionate about. So again, construct the mighty whiteboard, which is basically stacks and stacks of legal pads. Writing out, trying to figure out what my passion is because I lost it. What I wanted to do when I was a kid, I couldn't do anymore. Or I can't do anymore. So there's physical limitations. After you get so old, you just can't go run around and do the things you did when you were younger. So you got to be more realistic. But I'm trying to find those passions. Well, I had an interest in this at one time. I had an interest in this. Doing all kinds of cues like, what were you happy about when you were a kid? What did you do that made you happy? What would you spend your time doing if you did not have to worry about money at all? I even heard a most fascinating thing from a very big promoter, influencer, whatever they're called these days, content creators, I don't know, they're all the same thing. Gary Vaynerchuk. Might have heard of him, might have not. He said, if I took care of you, because he's a whatever, he has a lot of money, let's just say that. If I took care of you for a year, don't worry, I got you. Go out and do whatever you want. I found that to be a fascinating question, and I can't come up with an answer. Because it starts to go like, oh, I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I mean, the list just starts to go on and on and on with all the things that I haven't done over the last 20 years. And then I realized, oh wait, I can't really do that. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I can't do but I can do these things. But it was a fascinating question. He was like, I got you. You go out and do what you want. I think that when people hold themselves back from what they truly want to do, and it really starts in childhood, that they want to be a singer, they want to be an artist, they want to be a dancer, a ballerina, they want to be a police officer, a firefighter, in the military, a fighter pilot. They want to do all these certain types of things, and then they don't. And then they have problems years later down the road. They could be going to therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, all because they didn't stick with the passion in their heart. They didn't stick with who they were. They didn't say, you know what, this is me, you see me, here I am. I'm nice, I'm gracious. Sometimes, right? We all have a little on the backside. But that's where we find the loves of our lives. They'll find us, they'll see us, and love us for who we are. But if we don't have that passion inside of our hearts and know I'm going after it every day. Every day I'm striving toward whatever purpose life gave me. Whatever purpose life gave me. Isn't that a huge thing? When you think about it, it's like we were all born individuals. Boom, 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 boom. Thousands of people being born a day. I don't even know the number. It's like a baby every second. Maybe 3 babies every second. It's a crazy number. Who cares? It's actually supposed to be fun. There's so many babies I can't keep count. That would have been funner, right? That would have been a good one. But in not following that passion, by finding out that you are an individual right at the beginning, and then figuring out a way to develop it and stay on the course of the path, that I feel that 20 or 30 years down the road, you'll look back and you'll say, I followed that course. I did that. People that know me know what I'm all about. I'm an artist. What are they going to say about me at my funeral? Bryan was so passionate about art. He loved it. Well, he spent years over Europe studying. I don't even know what he was studying, but it was great. You know why? Because every time he came back to me, he was elated to share all these wonderful experiences. He would develop this magnificent art. We would go to his art shows. He was so excited to show us all these presentations non-stop. I mean, we knew he talked a lot, but when he got around art, woo, he talked a whole lot. And then people know you. They know you for who you are, for the reason that you were created, because we're all individuals. I would like each of you to think about your lives and think about maybe what it was when you were a kid, or maybe it was something. Maybe it was in your 20s. And you said, oh, this is it. Maybe you haven't found it yet. And then once you do, I want you to hold on to it. I want you to grasp it. I want you to close it. And I want you to pull it inside your heart. And then I want you to let it grow. I want you to become more of who you are, so that we can all bask in the glory of it. And that we can all be happier in life. This goes faster.
Thank you, Bryan. Madam Timer, may we have 1 minute? Everybody should have